So I'm Anthony Young, President and CEO of Epicenter Memphis, and welcome to the next big thing. I can clap again. All right. This is the 7th year of this event. I'm always honored to be here, to be surrounded by the visionaries who helped to build and shape this great city of Memphis. So it's always really good for me to be here. And largely, the vision was built on the power and the belief of entrepreneurship. And so I am thrilled to be here. And on behalf of Epicenter, on behalf of our great partnership with Society of Entrepreneurs, I want to thank everybody for coming. And thank you for this celebration, right? This is a celebration of innovation, and we're going to lean into that tonight. Since 1991, the Society of Entrepreneurs has helped to mentor, support, and resource innovators and builders of this great city. And Epicenter shares that same commitment. Since 2017, Epicenter has worked with nearly 2,000 entrepreneurs. You can clap again. And every day, our mission is simple. We exist to help create and spur venture-backable companies and to connect founders to resources that they can have to build, grow, and scale their companies right here in the Digital Delta, because it's our belief that the next big thing can and will come from Memphis. So tonight, we will celebrate our founders, we will celebrate innovation, celebrate Memphis. I want to say thank you to the supporters and the sponsors of this great event. I'd like to say thank you to the Society of Entrepreneurs and our partners there. And thank you to the innovators. Thank you to the founders that are pitched tonight. Really excited about that. And so with no further ado, I will introduce the hostess with the mostest, Pearson Crutcher.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. We really appreciate this partnership with Epicenter. Faith, Emily, the whole crew over at Epicenter, Nate, that I'm constantly calling and asking questions. So thank you for your patience with me. I appreciate that very much. I also want to thank Ryan Ramkelawan. Where are you, Ryan? There he is right here. Thank you very much. Ryan does all of the pitch practice training with all of the people that will be presenting today. So you'll see his hard work in just a few minutes. Thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. The society was formed, as Anthony said, in 1991 to educate and encourage entrepreneurs. I cannot think of anything more encouraging than $10,000 cash prize. So I think that we're doing the right thing here. So I want to thank all of the Society of Entrepreneurs members that are here today as judges. They are the only ones that get to ask questions during the presentations, but you will be, between the presentations and the reception, you will be able to ask questions of all of the speakers in the hallway. I would like to take this time to thank the society members that are here, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves, starting with my chairman, be really nice to him, Doug Marchant. Say it again.
Hello, I'm Doug Marshall. I've been here for quite a while, but glad to be here at Elcott.
Steve Charles.
Don Lutzett, speaker, author, and partner in the BCI Falkware.
Ron Coleman, a serial entrepreneur.
Phil Cook, founder of InSafe Inc. here in Memphis.
Kent Lippy, United Daughter Group.
Scott Morris, Church Health.
Randy Steverson, Superlow Foods.
Edith Cully Green, and I've gotten many of these, and I'm excited to be here.
Duncan Williams with Duncan Williams Asset Management.
Bill Stagbauer.
John Malmo Advertising.
Andy Malmo, my second year as judge, Flint Hydraulic Incorporated.
Hattie Phelps, Phelps Security.
Jeff Webb, Varsity Brands.
Very good. Y'all, let's give them a hand. Thank you so much for being here. One of the things that the judges will be doing today is writing comments and feedback also. So it's a lot more valuable probably than a cash prize, getting the input and the feedback from our membership. So thank you all very much for being here and doing that today. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. If it weren't for sponsors, none of this would happen. Thank you very much to the McInerney Family Foundation, who is our presenting sponsor. We really appreciate them. And of course, our other sponsors, Independent Bank, City Auto, who does the Audience Choice Award, which you will get to participate in, and I will tell you about that in a few minutes. Well, after we get to that point. Campfire Collective, Super Low Foods, Paragon Bank, and V2 Media. So thank you all for their sponsorships. Now I have the great pleasure of introducing my friend and our MC who's been doing this for a while for us. Missed last year, and I wouldn't let him do it again. So thank you for being back. We appreciate that, Jeff. Jeff is the founder of Varsity Brands. He's a Society of Entrepreneurs Master Entrepreneur, which is an award given only to members of the society. He has served 2 terms as the president of the society. He likes us a lot. And is the author of the Amazon best-selling book entitled The American Restoration, How to Unshackle the Great Middle Class. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for doing this for us.
Okay. Thank you, Pearson. Thank you. Thank you. To all of you who are here to watch these great presentations, you heard Pearson talk about society members and judges. We always do our very best to get the very top judges from the society. None of them could be here today. No, I'm just kidding. It's great to have these folks judging. I'm glad it's you and not me. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I had the fortune, Pearson always gives me a few days in advance the company name and the individual or the founder, and I try to make a point to call them and talk to them just a little bit before we get started. And it's always so inspirational, and I think you're going to get a lot out of the next few minutes, and I think it'll make you even more proud of the environment that we have here in Memphis and that the Society of Entrepreneurs is helping to foster. So, with no further ado, with the affordability and efficacy of our healthcare system under so much scrutiny today, our first company has developed a potential solution for Americans to connect with qualified providers, usually at a better cost, in other countries, and maybe even include a great vacation with it. So here to present his company, Medical Bridge, Pedro Castro.
Thank you so much for the intro, Jeff. Thank you, everybody, for being out here supporting tonight. I'm Pedro Castro, founder of Medical Bridge. To begin, let me explain why we exist. Healthcare costs in the United States keeps rising, and more patients are becoming aware of affordable options abroad. However, it remains challenging to confirm that those providers out there are qualified and to connect with them easily. Medical Bridge solves this problem. We connect patients with accredited providers easily and safely. We allow patients the opportunity to compare providers' credentials, facilities, pricing, reviews, and more. And then we only work with providers that follow international quality standards. That means that typically they will meet or exceed U.S. benchmarks. We deliver affordable, high quality, more personalized care while we give our patients the opportunity to enjoy beautiful destinations. To illustrate our concept better, please allow me to play our demo.
Visit our platform at www.medicalbridgecare.com. Select the treatment you need, elective or non-elective, invasive or non-invasive. Whatever your choice, we've got your back. And instantly compare U.S. prices with those from top providers in Latin America. Read real patient reviews, explore destinations, and learn everything you need to know about medical travel. Next, you'll schedule a call and meet with one of our health travel experts face-to-face on a video call. Together, you'll review your options and choose the provider that best fits your needs, comparing credentials, facilities, practices, pricing, reviews, and more. Everything is verified and transparent. And remember, we only work with providers who meet or exceed international quality standards. With Medical Bridge, your health is in the best possible hands. Once you're matched, you're ready to go. Pack your bags and enjoy the journey. Medical Bridge, accredited care within reach.
The global market for medical tourism is estimated in 100 billion and is growing at a fast pace of 15 to 25% year over year, mostly fueled by social media awareness, testimonial sharings, and the U.S. accounts for 30% of this whole demand. That means that 30 out of 100 patients looking for opportunities abroad are American residents. Our business model is pretty simple. Think of us as the Airbnb for medical services abroad, where patients pay a fee to be connected with an accredited provider, and that providers, they pay a fee to be verified by our platform and then display the services through us. We have launched the first version of our platform, gained some visibility on social media through targeted marketing campaigns initially launched to appeal to Latin American providers. Gotten 18 of them on board year to date, converted 3 of those to paid users, raised $60,000, and grow our team to 4 members. We plan to connect 32,000 plus patients with providers in the upcoming 3 years, generating over $25 million in revenue by then, while growing our network to 220 providers. We're currently raising $1.4 million via SAFEs with a $10 million cap, minimum entry $50,000. If we win today's prize, we'll use those funds to cover the cost of liability insurance for the upcoming year. This initial round is mostly to fuel operations and hit our first milestone, which is generating $2.2 million in revenue in 1 year. Once we get there, we'll raise $5 million to more aggressively scale and hit our second milestone, which is generating $22 million in 1 year. At that point, using a 10 to 15 times revenue multiplier, which is typical for marketplaces, we have the potential of landing at $220 million valuation in paper, becoming very appealing acquisition targets for bigger marketplaces like Airbnb, GrillSelf, Placidway, MedicalTourism.com. About to finish. For early investors, the opportunity to get 20 times more return on investment. If you want to learn more about us, please visit us at medicalbridgecare.com. My contact info is also in the slides. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Okay, we'll take questions from the society judges.
The idea of qualified providers is much harder than it seems. The fact that somebody's in X society, society or accredited at the hospital, there are famous surgeons all over the world that are horrible, absolutely horrible, all over the world, the United States included, but who have tremendous sales and marketing skills and have tremendous volume. So you can't go by volume alone. It is very challenging to sort through, if you will, the marketing piece and say who really has the quality. It's hard to have access to the data, and I challenge them to explain that process.
I'm going to take it away.
We have a 4-step process to confirm that a provider is following international quality standards. First, we look at that provider's medical credentials. What we do there is we use the World Federation for Medical Education. That's and they accredit institutions like the Liaison Committee of Medical Education, which is the gold prominent accreditor to medical schools here in the United States. Many providers in Latin America, they attend to schools that have been accredited by institutions that are endorsed by the World Federation of Medical Education. Second, we look at their facilities. And for that, we use the International Society of Quality in Healthcare. They accredit institutions like the Joint Commission, which is the gold prominent accreditor for hospitals and facilities here in the United States. Many providers in Latin America, they became many facilities. They get the same accreditation directly with the Joint Commission through their international brand, which is called the Joint Commission International, or they get it through institutions that are also endorsed by the International Society of Quality in Healthcare. Then we looked at, and you're right, I agree with you 100%. There are physicians out there that they might have all the accreditation, but they might not have actually all the accreditation, but they have an amazing sales team, and they do really, really well. So we also look at patient reviews. We'll look at endorsement from peers. We interview some of their peers in the regions. We checked their legal and criminal records. And then last, we partner with a small group of physicians in Colombia. And what they do for us is they conduct in-person visits to confirm that quality is there and that they're actually following safety protocols. So with all of that, just to say that quality, when you're visiting a highly qualified provider at a highly qualified facility, can be quite high. And then the level of care you'll get from those providers can, be even or even better than what you'll expect from, highly qualified provider here in the States as well.
Thanks. Okay, a couple more quick questions. Any other questions?
A department in-house, or are you contracting out the website development?
Right. Initially, we started with a CTO based here in Memphis, and he's outsourcing a lot of the development in India.
Scott?
How do you deal with post-op complications?
Pardon me?
Complications after the surgery. How do you deal with that?
Absolutely. So most providers, they have the opportunity to schedule follow-ups directly with their patients. If something goes wrong, they will send them to their local provider to be treated. For when we also request all our patients to get travel insurance, which typically cover the cost of minor complications or even emergencies while they're traveling or after. And then all of those providers outside of the States, they also offer malpractice insurance through their own practices. In the case that something needs correction, they will redo that patient at no cost. And then if there is an emergency, they will most likely refer that patient to their closest provider here in the States, and then that provider has to take that patient no matter what, because that's an emergency. They will take them regardless their medical records or where they come from.
All right, Pedro, thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next. So we all know about how important it is for aspiring athletes, whether it's high school or college or even pro, to be recognized, noticed, followed, and then hopefully get the break that propels them to their sports dream. But the first step is getting the connection to a coach or school or organization that can make that a reality. So here to present his company, how his company can help make the connection available to all young athletes everywhere, is Antonio DePina and his company, Scouts.
Testing. Perfect. Good evening, everyone. My name is Antonio DePina. I'm the CEO and founder of Scouts, and we are transforming and automating sports recruiting. So before we begin, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about myself, how we got here, as for myself and as a company. So this is me, a young high school athlete who dreamed about playing college basketball. I know I gained a little weight, guys. It happens, okay? But just like most athletes, I too had zero idea how to start my recruiting process or where to begin. I got my first college scholarship from sending hundreds of cold emails just like this. And I got my first professional contract to play in Europe from this exact Facebook DM I sent to a coach in Portugal. And 10 years later, athletes are still doing the same thing. Relying on social media, emails, just to get recruited is draining for them. And it's actually unfair. And that's why I created Scouts. So Scouts is a AI-powered sports recruiting platform that connects athletes and coaches in seconds. Athletes create a profile on our app, they get a review, and our AI matches them with the right coach and team to automate the recruiting process in seconds. But let's just take over the athlete for a second. We're a recruiting tool for coaches. We pre-vet every single athlete and use AI to match them with the right fit, saving coaches time, money, and also widening their talent pool. We have a subscription-based business model, so we generate revenue from coaches, parents, and athletes. Traction-wise, since our app launched in May, we already have 6,000 athletes on our platform, over 130 coaches actively recruiting, and over 100 parents paying to get their kids seen. We also have NBA G League partnerships with the Philadelphia 76ers, the Orlando Magic, and the Dallas Mavericks. So right now, we're generating close to $40,000 of monthly recurring revenue, and we're growing 10% week over week. But to do that, we had to do some unscalable things, right? Just like Airbnb, Uber, we had to start with the unscalable. So our go-to-market strategy was hiring high school and college students all across the country and paying them to go to showcases and tournaments to pass out QR codes to the athletes and the parents. So it's a guerrilla market strategy, but it worked for us and got us here. So we started with basketball. So we do only have basketball, but in the next 12 to 16 months, we're looking to expand and start with football, volleyball, and then baseball. But to do that, we had to build a moat and do something that everyone else wasn't doing. So for us, our moat was having high school, college, and professional athletes all on our platform. So we streamlined the entire recruiting process. Our team is small and lean. Together, we have over 10 years of experience in college basketball recruiting, professional recruiting, and the entire recruiting process in general. We also just added CJ Watson, a 10-year NBA vet. He played with Steph Curry and Derrick Rose. And he's our head of recruiting. So if we win, we plan on using the funds to extend our runway and also launching our Memphis plan. So we plan to have a downtown HQ and a citywide partnership with high schools to make Memphis a recruiting hub. So again, we are solving the problem millions of undiscovered athletes face, helping thousands of coaches find their perfect player in high school, college, and professional sports. And you can download our app right now and follow us on all social media as we become the #1 sports recruiting platform in the world. Thank you.
Great idea. All right, thank you, Antonio. Questions?
I would ask, if you said AI is going to judge the talent, correct? But who's going to be scouting these 7 million athletes that are going out to the coaches?
Yeah, for me personally, I don't think AI can actually do the 100% scouting.
Right.
So AI is being used as a help right now. So right now we have a manual process. So we have someone on our scouting team giving each athlete a grade 1 to 100. Followed by the recruitable data, financial aid data. That's how we do our matches, and we find them with the right fit.
So do they send that to you? Like, do they send the best film of them playing, the game they played, or do you see 4 or 5 different films to judge that?
Yeah, they put their best film forward. So any 30-second clip they can have, 1-minute clip, they add it to their profile, and our scouting team can see that.
Thank you.
How do you make money?
Great question right there. We make money through subscriptions, right? So we have, athletes paying on the professional, college, or the high school level. We have the college coaches paying. So that would be a lot of Division II, Division III, junior colleges paying. And then we have the parent paying. So for you, if you want your grandson to go play college basketball or something, you can just get a subscription on Scouts.
How many paying customers have you?
We have over 400, I want to say 465 right now, paying customers.
And they are paying
a subscription.
One time or
subscription.
Data pass?
We have subscription revenue. That 90% of our revenue is subscription. 10% of our revenue is from one-off like tournaments, showcases that we host across the country where they're powered by Scouts.
Have you registered your brand?
No, I haven't.
You better.
There we go.
It's stuck. There are probably about a dozen already out there.
Yeah. Oh man, don't do that. You're gonna scare me.
Okay, thanks, John. Other questions? I have a hard time saying that. So, yeah. We talk more about that situation
Right. There's no better time than now, right? Our competitors have been in this space for a long time, 10 plus years, the major players. The thing that we have different than them is our mobility, right? We're a startup. We're starting in one sport, which is basketball, and we don't plan on going to another sport until we win in that space, right? So we could add 10 sports, spray and pray, and let's see what sticks. But the low-hanging fruit was basketball, right? There isn't a one platform that basketball players can, trustfully go to. So that's why we wanted to stay. Kind of like how Amazon started with books before it started selling everything. We started with basketball before we added any other sport. So, yeah.
In your presentation, you mentioned that you hope to have Memphis as a recruiting hub. I didn't understand that. What is that?
So a recruiting hub means we host all of our national showcases here. So that means like high school showcases powered by Scouts, professional showcases powered by Scouts. Memphis is a basketball city. You know what I mean? I think that, Memphis has a lot of talent here, and we're just going to be the ones to show it out. So we're going to be the recruiting hub for here.
Very good. Thank you.
Andy.
Has NIL or the transfer portal and the ability to pay the athletes now impacted what you're doing?
Not really impacted. It's only helped, right? It's no better time than now. It's like the hot space. We don't really touch NIL right now. We still feel like the NCAA is going to do a lot of more regulating because right now NIL is like the wild, wild west. The QB can get paid anything. You don't know what's coming next. Anybody could walk off. So we didn't touch that space, but we're going to be the recruiting hub. So it'll be easy to jump in because we have all the athletes, right? So that's kind of our game plan, our roadmap for that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Great presentation. And again, we'll give the judges just a minute or two to kind of complete your forms there. So, for those of us, and I do mean us, who suffered from lower back pain, and there are millions of us, probably hundreds of millions nationwide, here is hopefully a solution we've all been looking for. I can't wait to learn about it. Next to present is Anthony Swoboda for his company, MedTech Solutions.
Imagine a pain so intense that it stops you right in your tracks. But that culprit is hiding in your lower back with a joint that you don't really hear much about. That's the sacroiliac joint, and we are creating disruptive solutions to treat millions of patients worldwide. With the World Health Organization, there's about 620 million people today suffering with low back pain. That's going to grow to around 840 million by 2030. Here in the United States, we've seen an opioid epidemic where patients are trying to find some sort of relief for that pain. Also, this is the world's leading cause of disability. But with low back pain and SI joint pain, they're synonymous because they can mimic each other in the form of sciatica pain, hip, thigh, and groin pain. Now, everybody here has been told at least once in their life from their mother that they were a pain in their mother's ass. Well, it's true because around 70% of women are affected by this, mainly due to the gestation period of carrying a child, changing all the dynamics of movement, and the spine will suffer. But say 5 to 15 years later from that birthing process, a patient shows up with back pain and say she gets a lumbar spine fusion. Well, was the SI joint checked as a pain generator? 5 to 15 years later, add on a hip replacement. So now we're kind of spattering around the idea here, but the SI, we're really trying to focus on honing in on correct diagnosis for the correct patient. Further to the problem, around 30% of low back pain patients are misdiagnosed when the SI joint pain is the pain generator. Furthermore to that, after a lumbar fusion, you have 40% more forces applied to the SI joint in 40% of patients that are going to have that problem there. So our solution is the Flexus Posterior Fusion System, which is a 3D printed titanium spinal cage with some of the material removed to allow it to flex. The SI joints are not symmetric as they are in the spine. They're asymmetric. So you need something to bend and curve into the nooks and crannies of that joint. Also, we aim to have the largest graft window of any posterior SI joint fusion device, and bringing the surgery down from or having a procedure time of about 45 minutes. With competition, old methods have screws coming across the lateral side of your buttocks into the ilium and into the sacrum. Complications exist. They're underreported. They're surfacing more and more every day. But the next generation is going to the posterior as it evolves, because this is a simpler procedure with less complications and easier for surgeons to perform versus the lateral. And we've already seen acquisitions in the posterior SI joint space already. The current market size is $700 million, and it'll grow to well over $2 billion by 2030. With our go-to-market strategy focusing first outside the United States in countries like New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia with less regulatory hurdles. We'll take those learnings, have intensive training courses here in the United States, and then launch in the eastern half of the United States to start. Reimbursement is how we get paid, how surgeons get paid, how hospitals get paid. CPT codes do exist for this procedure, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But most importantly, these procedures are growing in a surgery center setting, so in a same day, a patient can have this fusion procedure and sent home. Our team is comprised of industry veterans, mainly on the development side and biomechanical testing side. But also we've got Dr. McAlery from a pain management perspective to really hone in on hitting our objectives. From a timeline, we've been doing a lot with IP this year, with designs being reviewed and then testing and biomechanical testing next year, and a submission to the FDA for a 510(k) approval. Currently, we're searching for $750,000 as our seed round, and that'll get us all those design, testing, and companies set up to comply with the FDA standards in place, and then submit. But our four key milestones, a part of the $3 million, is first in human outside the United States, looking at the U.S. 510(k) clearance, and then a limited launch at 10 sites, creating ongoing revenue. If we were to be lucky to win this competition, we will be able to use that money to go to prototypes that we can then use for cadaveric testing. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's great. Okay, questions for Anthony?
I got one. Do you use X-ray C-arm to guide the placement?
X-ray C-arm mainly from a lateral to see how deep it is, because the sacrum you can see on the X-ray from a lateral to see if it's gone too far.
Come on, looking for light.
I got this one. Is the plan, once you get this growing, to stay in Memphis?
The plan is to stay in Memphis, yes. But I think with this technology and the way the movements are happening in the industry, that we would probably have an acquisition target within 5-6 years.
Okay.
Other questions? Let me give you a quick one. How can the physician look at the X-ray or whatever and tell that this is what the problem, where the back pain's coming from?
So from an X-ray, you can't really, but more from MRI and some other CT imaging, you can detect specifically the SI joint. X-ray can just show if it's displaced to the naked eye of a surgeon to figure out if it's been traumatic or something else that causes that pain.
Thank you.
Do you think that payers will require steroid injection to the joint first before you can get to a roof?
Unfortunately, that is the case. And as we've seen in orthopedics and hips, knees, and spine, that's just the protocol to have insurance or cover everything.
Other questions? Thank you very much for the presentations. Pearson just mentioned to me that interesting piece of information, that every company that has won this contest since we started is still in business, which is pretty good when you think about startups and the percentages there. So next, before we have our next presenter. We want to welcome back last year's winner, still in business, of course, after 1 year and hopefully thriving. And we're going to ask Suzanne Drumright to bring us up to speed on your progress for Limber Robotics.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to give a big thank you to the Society of Entrepreneurs, Pearson, and everybody at Epicenter for this wonderful event. Really appreciate you hosting, and we were delighted to be the winners last year. If you're here, you'll notice I'm not Evan, and no, I am not a robot. I'm the other co-founder, Suzanne Drumright, and I'm here to give you an update on what we've been up to. At Limber, we're automating the warehouse job people hate the most, hauling heavy boxes and bags from point A to point B. Our goal is a supply chain that runs faster and safer, and human jobs that build skills instead of increase injuries. And this year's been big. On the technical side, Evan has been building the robot brain. The robot, who we call Curry, now knows how to drive, navigate, and carry heavy cases with real precision. With those core skills locked in, generative AI can now train Curry for the endless mix of warehouse environments and objects it's going to face. Meanwhile, I've been focused on the business side, customers, partnerships, fundraising, and making sure we're building something the industry truly needs. Speaking of industry needs, I have to share a huge moment that only Memphians can appreciate. Well, everyone can appreciate, but mostly Memphians, and it meant the world to me. I had the chance to discuss our business with the late, great Mr. Fred Smith. And when a man who literally built the logistics industry tells you you're onto something, you pay attention. You take it seriously, and you work on proving him right. And that's what we've been doing. We've been hard at work. We've hit several major technical milestones, including completing Curry's full motion capabilities, letting the robot move quickly when it can, precisely when it must, and intelligently all the time. We've been validating it with real customers. We're partnered with 5 of the biggest names in logistics and retail. That matters because it proves we're solving an industry problem and not a one-off curiosity. We're now starting the hardware phase, and we'll have the prototype in warehouses next year. And I just want to speak briefly about the Memphis startup ecosystem as a whole. Love that you guys are all here. Memphis has everything it needs to be a national innovation hub. Deep industry experience, talent, grit, and creativity. We need more support and resources for the entrepreneurs building here. We have to actively nurture the companies born in Memphis. Otherwise, investors in Boston and Silicon Valley will continue to benefit from ideas that started in our backyard. Instead of building the next great company here, those startups might scale elsewhere, and we'll be saying we knew them when they were in Memphis. So as you listen to the pitches tonight, and as you meet founders in our city, I hope you'll ask, what would this startup success mean for my company, my industry, and my city? And even more importantly, how can I help them grow right here in Memphis? Help can look like anything. Write a check, sign a pilot contract, make an intro, open a single door. Whatever fits you, just take one step, because when we invest in Memphis startups, we're not just backing companies. We're building the Memphis we want to live in. Thank you.
Nice. Suzanne, congratulations to you and your team. Congratulations. Okay, next, we'll talk about imagination. The Bevo team has created a unique, immersive, location-based experience that combines open-world gamification, interactive storytelling, and actual physical set design to create a new kind of real-world entertainment. So, here are G. Van Knight and Catherine Hicks for Baron von Opperbeen and the River of Time.
Hello, everyone. I'm G. Von Knight, the CEO of Bevo, or Baron von Opperbeen.
I'm Catherine Hicks, co-founder and head of digital.
Can we all agree that humans need entertainment? And that fundamental need drives a $3 trillion market within the United States alone. But I think we can also agree that humans hate boredom and the constant drive they spend their whole lives chasing joy and wonder and adventure in trying to replicate that. And that means that the entertainment industry doesn't get to be static. They don't get to be status quo. They're constantly innovating. If you didn't know it, the entertainment industry is going through a seismic shift right now as it pushes into the experience economy or immersive experiences that break the fourth wall. It's growing hand over fist, and it's poised to be $800 billion worldwide by 2033. Now, this growth is powered by some of the companies that you know and love, behemoths in this space. But it is also being propped up by companies that may not be household names today, but they are going to be in the next couple of years. And for us in our weight class, these businesses and attractions of these size bring in millions of visitors every year through their front door. But more importantly, they are almost always the anchor attraction that is driving tourism growth in their respective cities.
What is Baron von Oppery in the River of Time? Well, Baron von Bevo is a place where you can run, slide, climb, and interact and unlock new adventures. We're in this large, brutalist building that is the Mud Island Mississippi River Museum that we're going to transform into this. Now, once you walk up the second flight of stairs, you're introduced to this large, amazing portal, which this is real, by the way. Once you walk inside this portal, you're in a completely different environment where you get to talk to both human characters as well as AI characters. Our AI character, Louise, is not a static museum piece, but she's fully interactive. And she has a hologram inside of her, which we're very technologically forward. We're using game engine technology, holographic displays, TVs, as well as projection mapping, which are going to projection map around our large Mississippi River Queen on the left right here, that we're going to turn into the immersive playground. And look at that slide right there.
So the reality is that we are in the middle, in the Mid-South, of an attraction and entertainment desert. We're here. We're 5 hours away from St. Louis and the City Museum. We're 3 hours from every other major city. So how is Bevo going to become the next big thing for Memphis? And we're going to do it by leveraging our greatest asset in this area, which is the people. The people, the minds, the creatives, the families that are being raised right here in this area are dying for entertainment for them and for their children to be inspired by. Now, Catherine and I only need to convince 17% of the Memphis-Shelby County population to come visit us and play for a day. And if we can't achieve that number, we actually can get 4% of the 5 million people that are in the Mid-South to come and join us. But better than that, we only need to convince less than 2% of the Memphis tourist visitors that come here, 12 million people that already come to this city every year, to take a chance on us and add us to their itinerary. And at $20 for an average ticket price, we think it's going to be an easy choice. That ticket price is bolstered by multiple revenue sources, and in our space, about 60 to 70% of our revenue will come from tickets and admissions, and about 20 to 30% from a combination of merchandise and food and beverage. That revenue breakdown is going to give us the runway to be operationally profitable within 6 months, and to put us on target to be achieving 87% margins by year 4. I have the fortune of leading this amazing team that have been working on this project for years, and they have the good fortune of being backed by a caliber of strategic advisors that I can't even name all the companies they represent, but I can tell you they all have deep civic and community pride. So we're opening with our first 8,000 square foot experience. We're currently 45% through our capital raise for that experience. We're 30% through that physical build happening in the River Museum today. Catherine is 12% through building thousands of digital assets, and Christopher is about 4% through building 50 original audio compositions. So where does that leave us in the overall grand scheme? We're here today, November 18th, for the next big thing. We are going to be opening pre-sales and limited edition merchandise by the end of the month. And we're here at Next Big Things to announce that the grand opening for Bevo is going to be March 7th, 2026. If we have the honor of winning the Next Big Thing pitch today, we plan to accelerate our food and beverage timeline so that we can open those concessions ahead of the grand opening and have that available for the Mud Island residents and downtown patrons. So we thank you for your time today, and Catherine and I are here for any questions.
And to sell your tickets, why not? Yes, okay, questions?
So let's talk about nationally, I mean, you mentioned it, but nationally, what this interactive space means, what's happening for you really around the world.
So the darling in the interactive space is a company called Meow Wolf, and it's founded in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And a lot of people ask, like, what does New Mexico and Memphis have in common? Because nobody would invest family-friendly entertainment in a city that has 75,000 people, and the average age of people moving there was 65. But it was a perfect storm, meaning it was an area a lot like the Mid-South where there was not enough entertainment for the families that were growing up there. And then you took a truly like magical, they were looking to reimagine the art gallery and to break the fourth wall of experiences for people. So not passive entertainment that once you've consumed it and you've moved on, and not arcades, but something that you could continue to go back and explore over again. They exploded in year 3 when I worked with them. They were already at $17.5 million, founded by a group of 10 artists. And they're now currently in 5 locations across the country, another 2. But the point that I always like to make from Memphis is that within a year, they became the #1 tourist attraction for all of the state of New Mexico. They eclipsed Carlsbad Caverns and the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. They changed the economy and the economics for the entire state.
Cool idea. Thanks for coming up with this. I guess one question I have is, particularly if you scale it up beyond Memphis, will these facilities sort of have a local angle? Will your Mud Island facility envelop Memphis history or Memphis culture? If you move to other place, would it do that as well?
So the beauty of Memphis is that we are absorbing all of these legacy assets. So that's why it's the River of Time, because we're building on the boats that exist in the museum. We've archived. The Pink Palace took all of the artifacts. Everything else that was left as a museum prop, we're trying to figure out how to integrate them into the exhibit from our perspective, because that's the legacy of the building. Adaptive reuse and sustainability is a core value of the company. So we are looking as we expand. We're not there yet. We're not going to put the cart before the horse. But when we do look to expand, we're looking at cities that have equally as rich architecture and assets in them, instead of building a brand new steel structure or a big box warehouse to install in.
So if I were going to do this for a day, can you get a little bit more detailed about what my day would look like? And do I have to bring little kids or medium size? I mean, I'm not following exactly what I would do. Or did it cater to the 65-year-olds in Mexico, New Mexico?
It did. They couldn't crawl through everything, so you couldn't quite slide through the washing machine as you did in New Mexico. But one of the reasons why we call this all ages is because if you are 6 years old and you want to climb up and down the maze, there's a space for you. If you're a content junkie and you just want to read and learn about all the characters, you can do that. If you're somebody who just loves visuals, you can take a seat on a bench and take it in from a wide scope. If you're the parent that is chasing, or if you're a video gamer and you want to find every single secret, so you could bring a whole family of 10, everybody could have different experiences, and yet it's also a shared moment in the same space for you.
Okay, thank you.
From a facility standpoint, do you have a long-term agreement with the city as far as a lease or to purchase or anything like that?
It's a great question. So our operating agreement is with Memphis River Parks. It's currently a 10-year agreement, so we have a 5-year and a 5-year option. I think across the entire city, it's unanimous that everybody wants something to happen on Mud Island. I don't know that everybody is unanimous on what happens on Mud Island. So I think everybody is like looking at, can we get a good catalyst in there, and then start talking about what the bigger picture is. So we're in there for 10 years to bring it to fruition. And then it's going to be a big table once we actually sit down and talk about, okay, what comes next.
My last question would be, you talked about opening in March. I know that's like the first part. What's the second or third, or what's after the first opening in March?
So my team's not going to sleep from March, because you've got March. The biggest week in location-based experiences is spring break. So we open in March. We have a tiny break in April. Memphis's May is unique to Memphis, and so we're going to have a crazy May, a little bit of break, and then we have June. But the creative team, Christopher and Catherine, once we open, they're going to immediately move to the phase 2 opening, which is Platform 35, which we have targeted to open at the end of 2026. They then move immediately to the riverboats, which arguably is the largest space, immersive platform, more risk, more insurance, all of that great stuff so that everybody stays safe. We have that targeted for the end of 2027. So it's a 2-year opening for us.
Jay, Catherine, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And our final presenting company, we all worry about, I think, the risks of surgery, especially some of the potential complications that can follow some procedures. Our next company has created some very interesting and promising technology to help mitigate specific risks we all can potentially encounter. Here to present PopCheck Technologies, Dr. Erica Dillard.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Erica Dillard. I'm founder and CEO of PopCheck Technologies. We are developing solutions that will lessen the impact of life-threatening complications after surgery. So let me introduce you to Mr. Smith. He's suffered from painful arthritis in his knees. He finally has a knee replacement, and after several days, he's discharged to rehab. Now, while he's there, he starts to develop calf pain, which limits his participation with physical therapy. But like most of us would do, he assumes this is normal pain after surgery. Several days later, the pain worsens, and he now has shortness of breath even without doing activity. Now, with these new symptoms, his nurse is concerned and sends him to the emergency room immediately. There, he learns that these were not normal symptoms, but were, in fact, signs of a clot that had developed in the deep veins of his leg, known as the DVT. And that clot was able to travel to his lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism. Now, though venous clots are one of the most common, potentially life-threatening, yet preventable of complications, with no way to monitor for them, a minor situation can quickly escalate into a life-threatening one. Over 1 million in the U.S. per year experience blood clots, and of those patients, 1 in 3 are at risk for dying within 5 years, and that carries a cost burden of over $12 billion annually, largely for unplanned hospital readmissions. So, to meet this unmet need, we are developing an AI-enabled remote monitoring platform in the form of a wearable device called the VenaCheck that will not only more effectively prevent clots, but will provide a means to predict them by non-invasively detecting abnormal patterns of physical clot biomarkers at the point of need. Once detected, our healthcare team will receive notification through our digital platform so that they can determine next steps in that patient's management. Now, unlike our competitors who utilize antiquated compression technology like these boots you see that have to be on the patient for 14 to 16 hours a day to work effectively, that doesn't sound comfortable, right? We utilize muscle stimulation that mimics leg movement, natural leg movement, as prevention, and is more comfortable for the patient. But also, with our AI-enabled remote monitoring clot system that moves this paradigm from a reactive situation to a proactive care. And so that allows us to encourage patient compliance as well as provider adoption. In terms of cost, a hospital will receive $21,000 to $31,000 in terms of payment from insurance companies. Now, when that patient returns to the hospital for a clot, the readmission can cost upwards of $33,000, not including reimbursement penalties. With PopCheck, just by preventing 2 readmissions, our technology more than pays for itself, and it also provides an additional stream of revenue for providers. So with us, the hospital, the patient, and the provider all win. And as such, we're targeting large volume acute care hospitals as our primary customer, as they provide over 70% of care to joint replacement patients. They provide the greatest accessibility to our key opinion leaders and are most financially impacted when these complications do occur. And we have a large adjacent market of high-risk patients, starting from peripartum to critical care, and also therapeutic monitoring that we plan to enter as we scale. But first, we're going to tackle hip and knee replacement patients, as they represent $913 million of a greater than $80 billion opportunity. And we're starting right here in our backyard in the Southeast region, because this region has some of the highest reimbursement penalties when these patients return. We've already partnered with Cleveland Clinic as well as Regional One Hospital here in Memphis in order to obtain pilot data that will help support showing our reduction in readmissions as well as proving our revenue model. And we'll use that data in order to foster paid pilots at other institutions in our center of influence who have high penalties as well. Our team has over 15 years of experience, from patient care to engineering to medical device commercialization. I'm the CEO, and my background in neurosurgery has allowed me to be able to take care of these patients at the bedside as well as in the operating room. We spun out of U of M and have raised $575,000 of dilutive and non-dilutive funding. This year, we enter national phase in 7 different countries with our patent. And with those clinical partnerships, we've submitted NIH SBIR grants and are poised for award in 2026. And so with this great opportunity through the Society of Entrepreneurs, we're going to use that $10,000 to finalize a wearable prototype for clinical pilots. That's going to get us closer to FDA regulatory clearance, as well as product launch in 2028. So we thank you so much for this opportunity, and we invite you to join us on our mission to make recovery for all patients stress-free. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. All right, questions?
I got one. We talked ahead of time. I understand the detection part. I don't understand the prevention part. That's for question 1. Question 2 is, can you wear this over a compression hose or TEV hose?
So it's meant to be in contact with the skin because the sensing technology works by being in contact with the skin. In terms of the prevention part, we have, as we saw, those compression boots are what are preventive that we know about, those, that we use in the hospitals now. Because our technology is incorporating electrical muscle stimulation in order to monitor those signals that signal blood flow or signal changes in blood flow. It's preventive by nature. So we're able to market it as both a preventive technology as well as a monitoring technology.
So just by muscle contractions.
Exactly. It's the TENS units, muscle stimulators, specifically because it contracts the muscles, it pumps blood back up to the heart, which makes it preventive by nature.
Will this require FDA approval? And if so, will you have to go through a lot of clinical trials that you've not yet done?
So we are already partnered with Cleveland Clinic and Regional One Hospital to do clinical pilots. That's contingent upon, obviously, the government opening back up and now moving forward with our grant review. But yes, we will need to have, this is a medical device class 2, so we will need to have FDA clearance. We're going through a de novo pathway, which means that we don't have a predicate device to follow. So we will serve as a predicate device. And we do need to have clinical trials, in place in order to get data because we're a predictive model as well. So we need a good amount of data from patients in order to say that our predictive model actually is doing what it's meant to do. So we will definitely need FDA clearance. We're applying for a breakthrough device designation, though, ahead of time. That's going to get us closer to having that conversation with FDA. And also there may be pathways to reimbursement a little bit earlier as well with the breakthrough device designation. Thank you.
Other questions?
Edith had one. Edith and Brad.
Okay, all right. On your customers, are insurance companies, because this is going to save cost, right? So are the insurance, when you said providers, I'm thinking physicians, but insurance companies, would that be one of your main customers, or that who you would be selling to, or trying?
We're selling to hospitals, but hospitals receive a bundled payment for a specific type of patient, which are the hip and knee replacement patients. When those patients, as I was mentioning, when they come back to the hospital, those costs far exceed the reimbursement that hospitals receive on the front end. So yes, it's part of this is preventing those costs of the readmission that's going to be tacked on by the hospital, but the hospital receives the reimbursement, and that reimbursement then would come to us. And also the additional stream of revenue that I mentioned with providers, there are reimbursement codes around monitoring service that the provider can do over a certain amount of time, and they can actually get a stream of revenue from that as well. So we allow them to have an additional stream of revenue in addition to us making money.
Okay,
thank you.
She answered my question at who your target markets are, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is optional, right?
The device optional or the
procedure?
Oh, the procedure. So we're targeting patients who are coming in for elective hip and knee replacements. So they've, had been worked up over time, and their physician is saying the next step is for you to come in to get surgery. So they're elective. They're not emergent surgeries, if that's what you mean. We're not, which is a huge population, by the way. Trauma patients who come in with fractures, they get a lot of blood clots. The reason why we're targeting hip and knee replacements first is because of that cost perspective that we talked about, those reimbursement penalties that are tacked on.
So
for
the
that.
patient makes the buying decision?
No, not necessarily. This is really upon the hospital to make that buying decision, and usually it's a value analysis committee within the hospital that determines whether or not this is something that they will carry in the hospital based off of costs and things like that we end up proving out through our pilots and our trials.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
Erica, thank you very much.
Right.
So while not everybody got a chance to judge, you will have a chance to judge now with the Audience Choice Award. I'll let Pearson kind of explain that to you.
Very good. Yes, we want everyone to participate in the Audience Choice Award. But before we start that, I want to say thank you again so much to these companies. Thank you for being in Memphis. We really, really appreciate that. So we really appreciate that. There's going to be a slide that they're going to put up here, and it has a QR code. There's also, if you're not already on the University of Memphis Wi-Fi, you have to go to UM Guest to get on. I tried to do it yesterday, and there is the signal in here, so it does work, but you do need to go to that. And if you'll put the QR code up also, you only get to vote once. Sorry, we've got it fixed. So vote for whoever that you think is the best presentation, and then we will be able to announce that and the winner of the Esteemed Mustang Award after the reception. So thank you very much.
I'm going to hand it off to Pearson, but just want to again thank everybody for coming out. Thank all of our sponsors. Thank all of our supporters, and thanks to our founders. Those were some great presentations. Would y'all agree? Yeah. Again, it's been a fantastic night, and I'm going to hand it off to Pearson to make the big announcements.
I'm not going to make announcements, but I'm going to tell people to make announcements.
Okay, there you go.
My favorite thing to do. First, I want to say that thank you so much. Thank you, Anthony. This is always a wonderful event. If the votes were all very close, I'm going to let Stan Norton from City Auto, who is the sponsor of the Audience Favorite Award, make the announcement of who won that award first. Stan?
Thank you very much, Pearson. We're happy to be back this year to present the fan favorite. I want to thank you for everyone for being here. Thank you for the members of the Society of Entrepreneurs for being here and being a part of this and Epicenter. I think it's awesome. We're developing this talent here in our city, our great city. So there was a lot of good presentations tonight. But tonight, the fan favorite is BVO. Hey.
Congratulations. Y'all don't leave. We'll do a bunch of pictures afterwards. So, because I know everybody also wants to know who wins the Mustang Award, which is named in honor of the member that graciously sponsors that award but wants to stay anonymous. But a Mustang is a very adaptable animal that can drive in very difficult environments. So is that not the perfect award name for this award? I'm going to now turn it over to the members of the McInerney Family Foundation, Olivia McInerney and Milton Lowell, who will make the announcement of who won the Mustang Award. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pearson. Olivia and I are very pleased to be here, and we're pleased to announce the Mustang Award recipient. This year is PopCheck Technologies, Dr. Erica Jace. Congratulations.
You did the important part right here. Not Erica, but anybody else. So. Thank you again for being here. We will be back next November. Very exciting. Congratulations to the winners.
Awesome. Congrats.